Welcome to the Chamber's Elevated Conversations podcast. And now, your host, Dave Eckmann.
Hi, Dave Eckmann, President and CEO of the Greater Wausau Chamber of Commerce, bringing you another podcast in telling stories in our community. And today, we're at Central Wisconsin Airport with the airport manager, Brian Grefe. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this organization, what it does, but we want to introduce Brian and let him really tell the community about himself, why he's here, and what he's doing to move this airport into a competitive nature in 21st century air service. Brian, welcome.
Thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
Happy to have you here.
It's always fun to visit here. Change is always afoot. And I've known you now for some years. Been involved in the airport for nearly 2 decades in terms of where we were 20 years ago here and working with Lane Ware. You know, Lane Ware was a champion of the business community for Central Wisconsin Airport. And I would tell you, Lane was a big United Airlines flyer. So we have good news to talk about somewhere along. So, but Brian, if you would, why don't you let the people know about yourself, where you're from, and what you do?
I've been working here at Central Wisconsin Airport as airport director for just about 10 years now. A lot of change has happened in that time. I was fortunate enough to come into a terminal grand reopening. So I got here, the terminal was in great shape, but the airport still needed more investment from a capital side. Since that time, we finished up the terminal, did this concourse that we're sitting in right now. We reconstructed the airfield, and right now our focus is on general aviation. We've got a unique opportunity just with the federal funding that's out there right now to invest in general aviation facilities. Next year, you'll see coming online a new transient hangar and a new general aviation terminal building for the private aircraft that come through. Something that meets the fit and feel of this terminal we're sitting in right now. From a business standpoint, air service has been a big focus of mine. Right now we have American and Delta offering 5 flights daily between the two of them. But then the exciting news coming up in May is we've got United coming back on board.
It is exciting. So when you look at where you've been in the air service industry, how many years now? You've been here 10, but
25 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where were you before?
Right before I was Aspen, Colorado, and before that Duluth, Minnesota.
Okay, so you know cold.
Yeah. I know cold. This is the warmest place I've been with the least amount of snow.
Okay, yeah. Well, you've been doing it a long time. You've seen the changes, and I think where the public doesn't really understand is your industry and how fast it is changing due to repositioning of aircraft and the pilot shortage. Can you touch on some of those things to help our viewers understand better your challenges?
Yeah. Thanks for that, Dave. It's a very dynamic world we're living in right now. Everybody understands what happens with COVID in 2019, 2020. There were certainly impacts on the aviation industry with that, but the ripple effect is what's affecting us. So with that, had a lot of retirements in every industry, but certainly in the aviation industry, pilots. It takes a long time for them to get spun up, to get trained. So as the faucet got turned back on and people wanted to travel, we saw a phenomenon known as revenge travel, where everybody had this pent-up demand to go on vacations, go meet loved ones, all the reasons you travel for, and they wanted to do that right now. Because pilots in a large part had retired, we didn't have the capacity as an industry, not just Central Wisconsin Airport, to meet the demand. When industry saw that, the large airlines, United proper, Delta proper, American proper, the main carriers were able to hire from the regional airlines. Not a lot of people realize this, but even though we've got Delta on our planes and we've got American on our planes, they're flown and served by regional carriers in Endeavor and Envoy, etc. So in a large part, larger or smaller communities like ours were left without the resources they needed to serve their communities, because those pilots, those flight attendants, what have you, are moving up to the Delta proper, the American proper, etc.
Sure.
And since then, it's 2025 right now, so it's been recovering for 4 years. They've been in a mass hiring phase. Now we're starting to see a little bit of relief. There's still a pilot shortage. It still takes years for a pilot to get the hours they need to be a captain, but we're starting to see a little bit of that, and that's what you see with the additional service we're seeing with United. We also got a 50% increase on American this summer. So we're growing slow and steady, and there's still certainly more recovery to be had.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got the pilot shortage, part of the talent crisis that everybody's kind of working through at this point in time. But if, I'll age myself a bit here. I can still remember flying out of here back 20 years ago on a Saab prop jet that had 40 seats. And we had a lot of capacity because you only had 40 seats,
Yep,
right?
yep.
And so can you take people through? So you've got a pilot shortage. So one way or another, you gotta have more flights in, or you gotta have bigger flights, more capacity in a flight. Can you tell everybody where the capacity is going from where we were and why we're getting into the bigger regionals?
Yep. Economies is really the conversation right there. As airlines fly larger aircraft, it's more economical. If you can pack 70 people into a aircraft versus 40, you've got roughly the same fuel burn, a little bit more because it's a bigger engine, roughly the same crew costs. It's just more economical. So like when you referenced a handful of years ago, we had over 20 flights daily, but those flights were on smaller, sometimes less than 20-seat aircraft. And in order to serve the same number of passengers, we can now do it in 8 flights. On the topic of economies, the airline's business model has shifted very significantly from then too. Back then, they were perfectly comfortable running with the planes half empty. That just isn't profitable at this day and age. Airlines, sometimes it gets frustrating with what they charge, but I can tell you they run very, very thin margins, and they have to have those planes full if they're going to be successful. In order to be successful, they need to fill them, and they'll continue to give us more capacity.
Absolutely. I think that's, and there is frustration, obviously, but the airlines are a business. A very important business in the United States, obviously, global economy. But you have to be profitable. And if you're not running, it's like any other business, be it a small mom and pop. If you're not running above, okay, you got problems.
Absolutely.
And so they're adjusting and adapting to the economy. So thank you for sharing that. So let's kind of set back here where we're sitting. There's been a tremendous piece that we need to make sure that people that are watching this, how important this asset is to central Wisconsin, the central Wisconsin airport, to our regional economy. Without this, and I can, because I've read a lot, done a lot of research on infrastructure like CWA. If you don't have this, our economy is dead in the water. The companies have an insufficient means of moving people in and out of the community, and to attract companies. It's part of our sale outward to attract and retain companies.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
high tide raises all ships.
Yeah, can you talk about that just in terms of your background as being an airport director at CWA, about the economics of this airport and some of the current future challenges that you're facing?
Yeah. Your point brings me to a phrase that everybody's heard. It's buy local, fly local. Everybody understands the importance of supporting your local businesses, whether that's a coffee shop or construction services. It's important. It helps keep money in our economies and grow our community. Air service is no different. The airport board, airport staff, we can get additional air service, but it takes the community to support it. Look, next summer, we're looking at a 60% increase in flights from what we have this summer, which was an increase from last summer. We need our community to rally around this airport and use it in order to be successful.
So you're talking about increased demand, making sure that we have sufficient demand here to make sure the airlines can operate profitably. Okay.
And the data supports it, absolutely. We have people flying today in our area, over 600,000 annual trips. Of that, we capture less than 25%. So 75% are going to other airports for one reason or another. Sometimes good reasons, sometimes, well, everybody has their reasons.
Yes.
So we know this increase in capacity can be supported. We know now that we've got good competition between all three major airlines, we know prices are going to come down. So we know this is going to be successful. We just really need to tell the story that we've got these options. And now, for the first time in a long time, you can get anywhere you need to be in this world from Central Wisconsin Airport.
Yeah. And, you know, the things you're talking about are in the free market, price and demand, if you will, supply and demand. And the more demand, or the less demand, I should say, if you have enough capacity to serve, your prices are going to come down. But it's the competition piece that helps to do that. But you got to have density in terms of usage.
You're absolutely right, Dave.
And so that's the important part of this. Encourage people. Yeah, it's easy to chase a maybe $150 fare. That might be less expensive. Okay, I get that. But you're going to have to travel. And don't forget to measure your time. You have, as a work environment, you have 480 minutes a day in an 8-hour day. And so how do you respectfully treat your time? Because your time is money. And if you're sitting and driving to another airport, windshield time, unproductive, where you can work here in a business environment.
Absolutely, we
right
have
here.
free Wi-Fi.
Right.
Most aircraft now have free Wi-Fi. It's pretty seamless.
And so you can do that here. Point being is, if you've not been to a major, if you want to go and drive, you're going to have windshield time. You're going to have to park. I'll tell you what, this is so easy, the parking here.
And affordable.
It absolutely, it is. So those are things that I've seen you working on to make sure that, one, you've got a quality space here, it's comfortable. This is not what it was 20 years ago.
It is not.
Not even. It's beautiful. It's inviting. It's warm.
I certainly can't take credit for all of it. It's a group effort. I've got a great staff. The Joint Airport Board has always been very supportive, always willing to invest in this facility. So I've got to give a lot of credit to the greater team.
Yep. Yeah, and it's a partnership with Marathon County and Portage County that's worked well over decades. So let's just pause and review. You have Delta.
Delta. Yep.
Delta's flying to
Minneapolis right now.
Right.
I am working on Detroit.
Okay.
I know I get that probably daily, especially from the business community. They want that Delta Detroit flight back. Last week, I was actually meeting with Delta and delivered that message. Candidly, I can say they do want to get the third Minneapolis flight back first before they introduce Detroit. My message was great. Let's have both of them. We can fill them both at the same time. Going back to that 75% leakage number I gave you.
Yep.
If they give us something we know the community wants, we know it's going to do well.
That's right. So you got Delta. Then you have American that flies to Chicago.
Yep.
And then you have United coming back home.
United starting May 21st, and you can book now.
Okay. So we have three majors. We're going west. We want to go east again. You do. And then we're going south. So the thing that I really want the business community to understand is that we know the airlines, respectfully, they are businesses and they have to operate at that profit level. How many times in your career have you seen that attitude from an industry, the bigs, that, you know, it's okay to put half people or fill planes halfway?
Yep.
Well, how many airlines went out of business?
There's been a lot. I couldn't even put a number to it. Even since I've been in it, a couple decades I've been in the industry, it's been a complete shift in what the corporate philosophy is, what the landscape looks like, how many airlines there are. And it is, again, very tight margins and it's starting to be a little cutthroat, to be honest.
So here's what we need to do, at least from my perspective in being an economic development at the Chamber of Commerce, is we need to support this airport as fullest to the capacity that we can from a business traveler standpoint, from a leisure standpoint.
Absolutely.
So my ask of you is this: we, as a community, we need to support this, and I know you're working with my peers in the other chambers, conveying this message as well. What is it that this community can do for you, Brian?
We need the business community support. The business community has always been the backbone of this airport, of the growth of this airport, and quite honestly, the success of this airport. So first and foremost, we need their support, and then leisure travel will follow after that.
Okay. Meaning, businesses, look here first. Tell us about your family, and what you love about the community, your dislike.
Oh no, this is a great community. I'm originally from Minnesota. My family is actually from more southern Wisconsin. My parents moved to Minnesota when they got married for work out there. So luckily to come home to Wisconsin. This is my first time living here. 10 years ago when I moved here. But I can't tell you how quickly it became home. The community's great. I live up in the Wausau area. Neighbors have always been supportive. I've got a bunch of neighbors that have kids the same age as my kids. It's just a great place to raise a family. My whole family's skiers, so we're just a couple miles away from Granite Peak ski area. So here in a couple weeks, less than a month, we're going to start skiing that. Yeah. I don't have to travel far to do the things I enjoy and like spending time with my family.
Terrific.
I can ski here, I can hunt here. We've got a boat, spend a lot of time on Lake Dubay in the summer. It's a great place to be.
Awesome. Well, everybody, this is our time at Central Wisconsin Airport. Brian Grefe, thanks for all you do. It's not an easy job. You're in a dynamic of where you don't have control necessarily of the marketplace, right? You're really you're living in a world where you have different organizations making a decision of what's going to happen here or not. But you're trying to bring this and move this airport forward in a big way. People come out here and you fly and you can see the beauty of what's here, and you can even come over here and play chess. You're killing time, in a big way. So, absolutely. Brian, thank you.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming out here and talking to me today.
Thank you. This podcast episode is a production of the Greater Wausau Chamber of Commerce.